Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Abrams, and this is Court Cam.
Call the buzzer. Call.
Take him back! Take him out!
You die in prison as well.
First up, we're in Louisville, Kentucky, for an arraignment hearing at the Jefferson County District Courthouse.
46, William Sloss.
We ready for Sloss?
Good question. 38-year-old William Sloss is in court for an arraignment hearing. Sloss is accused of killing his live-in girlfriend and then hiding her body inside a plastic storage container in the basement of their home. He's charged with murder, domestic violence, and abuse of a corpse.
Officer Morgan.
Courtroom security lines the hallway and prepares for Sloss, who's earned a reputation for being uncooperative. As officers get Sloss to his feet, Judge Sarah Nicholson reads his charges. But it quickly becomes clear he's really not interested.
All right, Mr. Sloss, you are here on murder, domestic violence, and abuse of corpse.
Probably not the best way to greet the judge, and he's just getting warmed up.
All right, Mr. Sloss, you are here on murder, domestic violence, and abuse of corpse. Your plea of not guilty. Are you going to hire an attorney, or are you requesting an appointment at the public defender's office?
The judge attempts to be heard over the profanity-laced tirade.
Mr. Sloss, are you requesting an appointment at the public defender's office, or are you going to hire an attorney?
As Sloss continues his antics, a representative from the Jefferson County Attorney's Office can be heard laying out recommendations for Sloss's bond.
And given Mr. Sloss's criminal history, which includes multiple felony convictions, knowing would be warranted.
Given his linked record of violent offenses, we will increase the bond to $1 million.
The judge has just agreed to set bond at $1 million. The court believes Sloss poses a serious threat to the public.
Mr. Sloss, are you going to hire an attorney, or are you requesting an appointment at the public defender's office? Mr. Sloss, we'll appoint the defender's office to represent you at this time.
William Sloss was returned to custody to await pretrial hearings for the murder case. We're now in Idaho Falls, Idaho, for the case of Marshall Hendricks. Witnesses say the victim, a 30-year-old male, believed Hendricks was having an affair with his girlfriend and confronted him. Hendricks claimed that during the altercation he thought his friend was reaching for a gun behind his back, so he pulled a .40 caliber pistol and shot him in the face. No gun was found on the victim. Facing a possible life sentence for second-degree murder, Hendricks is about to enter into a plea agreement with the prosecution.
Would you like me to go through the terms as the court sees them, and I'll verify whether these are your understandings? Okay. So as the court looks at the plea agreement, it states that you would be pleading guilty to the amended charge of voluntary manslaughter and the use of a deadly weapon in the commission of that offense.
By pleading guilty, Hendricks' charge will be reduced to voluntary manslaughter, and the state will recommend a sentence of 10 to 25 years in prison. The judge, however, reminds him that the recommended sentence is not binding, meaning it's in no way guaranteed.
Each of the parties will come to the sentence with their own recommendation. I'm not bound to follow the terms of the agreement, but I'll exercise discretion in fashioning the sentence. Does that make sense to you? Did anyone pressure or coerce you into this plea? No, sir. Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? Yes. How do you plead to the amended charge of voluntary manslaughter? Guilty. Can you now share with me what it is that makes you guilty of that offense? Yes.
After pleading guilty, Hendricks now has to relive the moment he took his friend's life.
On September 2nd, 2019, I got into a conflict with a friend of mine, and I became scared. When I seen him behind his back, I thought he was reaching for a gun, and I didn't wait for his hand to come back out of his t-shirt, and I shot him. And I killed him.
Visibly shaken, Hendricks continues to answer questions that confirm his guilty plea.
Just to accommodate specifically what is found in the language of this offense, this was done without malice and forethought and premeditation. Do you accept that? Yes. And you've already acknowledged that you took the life of this individual. Very well. There is a factual basis for the plea, and therefore the court will set the matter for sentencing.
Marshall Hendricks is currently awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter with a deadly weapon and could face up to 30 years in prison. Next, we're in Daytona Beach, Florida for an arraignment hearing. The defendant's name is Robert Burke, but that's not how most people know the 51-year-old.
I'm a naked cowboy from New York City. I sing and play guitar in my underwear.
He's the Naked Cowboy, a fixture of New York's Times Square. This desperado works for tips, wowing tourists with his guitar, his dance moves, and his muscles. But in the winter months, to avoid shrinkage of his business, the urban cowboy headed south for Bike Week in Daytona Beach. And that's where he ran into the long arm of the law, seen in this police body cam footage.
Let's go over here.
Reportedly, police had told Burke he wasn't allowed to panhandle on the sidewalk. But they observed him continuing to accept money from people walking by.
Alright, so as we walked by earlier, we said stop panhandling. We told you stop panhandling.
And you said that you don't panhandle.
Alright, city ordinance violations, then you.
Okay.
Oh, we see them giving you tips. Okay. You go that way, ma'am. Go that way. No, it's my wife.
Burke's wife just happens to be the naked cowgirl, and her presence seems to stir things up even more.
That's
Go that way.
Stand on the
Not
sidewalk.
going anywhere
No,
to
she
my
should-
wife.
all I said was she should stand on the sidewalk. All I said.
What's the matter, bro?
He's being detained right now because he's not listening. Can you please stand on the sidewalk? No, you told her not to obey a lawful order. No, that's exactly what you did.
Relax your hands. Hey.
Sit down on the edge of the front of the car. You don't
I've
listen.
been coming here for 20
Yes, and things have changed.
She's right. In 2019, an ordinance was put into effect after a, quote, increase in aggressive panhandling and begging. The city became disturbing and disruptive to residents and businesses. Panhandling, quote, within 20 feet in any direction from any commercially zoned property was now off limits.
I know.
Can you sit over there? You're not listening. You're about to take a ride. No, you don't listen. No, I gave you a minute. Get on it.
I won't talk. Take some photos, videos.
Street Victor 200.
I'm not home.
New York.
After the cowboys cuffed, things appear to cool down. Well, mostly.
My ass is burning. My ass is burning. Can I stand up? Can I give him some milk?
Copy.
Yeah.
Can you sit down, please?
I can't sit on the start.
And he's about to go from burnt to flat out steamed.
Take my phone out of my food.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Get back on the sidewalk, otherwise you're going to jail. Get on the sidewalk.
Patty.
You need to be quiet. Move. Get your ass over here. Do not resist.
You broke my guitar string. Oh my God.
I said to sit
You broke
on
my guitar now.
The naked cowboy is eventually arrested.
Thank God for Daytona Beach.
And charged with panhandling and resisting arrest. Now, after a night in jail and clad in a more modest orange jumpsuit, Burke pleads his case to a judge.
I'm not asking for money. I just play the guitar and people take pictures and sometimes they put money in. I've come down here 21 years in a row. It was a pretty big ordeal, you know? I mean, so I was just mad. I wasn't mad at anybody in particular.
Burke then proceeds to plead no contest to the resisting arrest charge.
All right, I'll find that your plea is knowing, voluntary, and intelligent, supported by a factual basis with full understanding of the consequences. I'll accept your no contest plea.
As part of Burke's plea, the panhandling charge was dropped and he was sentenced to 1 day time served and ordered to pay $223 in court costs. But he was allowed to keep the tip money he earned before his arrest.
My ass is burning. My ass is burning. Can I stand up?
Next, we head to municipal court in Kansas City, Missouri. Judge Joe Locascio presiding. It's Friday afternoon. This is Mike Suvro. He's here today for some important business that could impact his entire life. Suvro enters a mostly empty courtroom, only to find the judge, a couple of bailiffs, and the court clerk, Kalina Blosser, who just happens to be his girlfriend. Judge Locascio wastes no time and gets straight to the charges.
There's several charges against you. You're accused in 2013 while training Kalina Blosser as a court clerk of failing to maintain a demeanor as a stone-cold fox and allowing her to trespass on your heart.
It appears Suvro, a former clerk of this very court, trained Blosser, is not here on criminal charges.
Count 2, you're accused of following the said Kalina Blosser around this court in an attempt to gain entrance into her heart. How do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Mr. Merrill, how do you propose to make restitution for these charges?
May I address the victim directly, Your Honor?
You may. Yeah, step down.
Suvro begins his opening statement.
Kalina, I think you're a wonderful person. You're my best friend, and I've been in love with you since I met you. And I want to ask you today if you'll marry me.
Yes, of course.
Suvro, who works in the city's communications department, wanted the proposal to happen at the courthouse, where his relationship with Kalina began.
I'm going to look from a sneaker in that door. I'll be looking at an angle with the judge.
He worked on the script with the judge, and the happy couple married 2 years later. And just to point out, since the proposal occurred during their lunch break, no city resources were wasted. Next, we go into the archives, back to 1993, at the courthouse annex in Daytona Beach, Florida. Antonio Ray Cobb is facing stalking charges. He's accused of harassing an ex-girlfriend and making multiple obscene phone calls. This is the defendant's first appearance in court. According to reports, Judge Freddie Warthen has just sentenced Cobb to 30 days in jail due to his combative behavior during the hearing. As the deputy escorts him back into custody, Cobb decides to release his aggression the hard way. Cobb bolts away from the deputy and rushes headfirst into the phone on the nearby wall. The deputy grabs him around the neck and drags him to the floor. The court clerk calmly slides away from the commotion as a second deputy jumps in to assist in restraining the defendant. Cobb continues to fight it and headbutts one of the deputies attempting to restrain him. Sprays the defendant.
All right, back off.
The judge calls for a recess while Cobb is punched on the ground, coughing.
Yes, sir. All right, gentlemen. Everybody step back, please. Please step on.
The deputy deputies order the remaining inmates out of the courtroom. You can see them covering their faces in an attempt to protect themselves from the fumes. At least for Cobb, it appears relief is on the way.
Okay. We're gonna get some cold water.
No word on whether Antonio Ray Cobb received additional charges for his belligerent behavior. But he was found guilty on all charges, including aggravated stalking, making harassing phone calls, and tampering with a witness. We're in Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court in Cleveland, Ohio. Andre Boynton and his girlfriend Anika George are facing charges of sex trafficking, child pornography, and rape of a 14-year-old girl and 4 boys between the ages of 9 and 13. Boynton had already been serving 10 years to life for raping a 13-year-old girl. But he's now accused of coordinating a child pornography ring from prison and allegedly enlisting his girlfriend to facilitate from the outside. Boynton claimed sovereign citizenship in a previous hearing and was forcibly removed after unloading a profanity-laced tirade directed at Judge Sherry Midday when she would not let him fire his lawyer during the session.
You're fine. Don't come see me, man. I don't want to see you. Don't ever come. And you want my money back.
Now back in court for jury selection for his trial, Boynton's not happy with his new public defender, Rufus Sims, and objects to numerous rulings made by Judge Midday.
Okay, so I made my ruling, and the warden stands.
I object to that.
You will speak through your lawyer.
He is not my lawyer, and he does not speak to me.
He's your lawyer.
He is not my lawyer.
Judge Midday is growing tired of this dance and threatens to eject Boynton from the hearing.
Do you want to keep having this conversation? It's the holding cell for the rest of the trial. Do you want to keep having it?
He's not representing, so it doesn't matter what the outcome is going to be the same. He has done nothing I asked him to do.
Are you going to keep talking?
Are you going to listen?
Are you going to keep talking?
If the court listens.
We're not having any more dialogue. Are you going to keep talking?
I want to represent myself. And I reserve my time to the rights to do that.
Representing you in this matter.
Close out self-esteem.
Judge Midday has officially reached her limit with the defendant's behavior.
All right, I'm going to rule that you are unruly and you are to be removed from the courtroom.
The judge orders Boynton to a holding cell, but his deputies prepare to escort him from the hearing. He unleashes a few more threats at his new lawyer.
You are disrupting this trial,
Since you are fired
and
from
you
not
cannot
a lawyer, you don't represent me.
reasonably conduct this trial with your presence.
That's fine. You were fired. You're not my lawyer. You don't represent me. Don't speak on my behalf. I will charge you for interfering in my personal affairs. $100,000 for every time you speak in my behalf.
Andre Boynton and Anika George were found guilty of 117 counts of sex trafficking, child pornography, and rape. Boynton received the mandatory sentence of life without parole. George effectively received the same sentence, life with no chance of release for 139 years. That's it for this edition of Court Cam. I'm Dan Abrams. Thanks for watching.